What is going on, you guys? Alex Chasen back here with a brand new video, and today I just want to talk about how I feel bad for Nikola Jokic. This man is the greatest basketball player in the NBA right now, without a doubt. If you have any doubts, just go back and watch his last two games. Just go back and watch him. He is utterly insane. He is doing absolutely everything and anything for this Nuggets team. This is a Nuggets team that is now 12-10. They're the 7th seed in the West. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They're not that good in a Western Conference that's extremely competitive. And the only man, really the only factor that is keeping this team alive, keeping them above 500, and keeping them okay in the NBA is Jokic. Jokic's last two games, he's dropped 56, 8-16 in a loss to the worst team in the NBA, the Washington Wizards. They lost, and Jokic dropped 56, 8-16, 22 of 38 from the field, and 3 for 5 from 3. They lost that game. Last night, they did murder the Atlanta Hawks. They needed that win. They needed this big win, 141-111. They needed this so bad. Jokic dropped 48, 8 assists, and 14 rebounds, 17 of 29, and 3 for 6 from 3. Jokic is one of the greatest players we have ever seen touch an NBA court. And on top of that, he is the greatest player in the NBA right now. I bounce back and forth between him and Giannis all the time, especially in MVP conversations. But Jokic continues to level up every single month, every single day. This man is utterly insane. On the season, he's averaging 32, 14, and 10, 56% from the field, and 50% from 3. And he's taking a career high 4.5 attempts from behind the arc, and he's making about, 2.5 of them. He's making about 50% of his shot attempts from 3. Jokic is something else. And I just feel bad for him because he has really no help around him. You look at this game, they lose to the Washington Wizards, and the starting five is Brody, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, MPJ, and Jokic. Not much defense there in that lineup. You have MPJ, who is 5 of 14, 0 for 5 from 3. Where you at, bro? You are getting paid mega millions, upwards of $40 million a year. I have it pulled up. What's he getting paid? He is getting paid $35 million this year, $38 next year, and then $40 million. And you lose to the Wizards, and you put up 11 points, 5 of 14 from the field. That's disgusting. You have Peyton Watson, who shouldn't even touch an NBA starting five, but, he did because they are hurting right now. Jamal Murray was out of this game. Aaron Gordon as well didn't play in this game. They were down a few guys. But look at the other team. All right, the Nuggets were down a few guys, but look at the other team. They were also down a good bit too. The Washington Wizards had a starting five of Bub Carrington, Jordan Poole, Bilal Coulibaly, Justin Champagnie, and Jonas Valanciunas. And they torched the Nuggets. Torched them. 39% from 3. 9 of those coming from Jordan Poole, who shot 20 of them. He was shot chucking, but he hit almost 50% of his threes after airballing a few. They torched the Denver Nuggets offensively. The Nuggets defense is atrocious this year. Not only does Jokic have no help, you look at the bench unit, Hunter Tyson, DeAndre Jordan, who's he should be Udonis Haslem at this point. He shouldn't even be playing, but he has to. Jalen Pickett, and then Julian Strawther, who did have 18. He's all right. But still, he's getting 33 minutes. He should not be getting 33 minutes. Look at their most recent game last night against the Atlanta Hawks. Much better, a little bit better, especially, obviously, you have MPJ who decided to show up, 12 of 17, but still 1 for 5 from 3. Jokic, 48, 8 and 14. I don't know how you lose going back to the Wizards. I don't know how you lose dropping 56, but we'll move on. We'll continue with this one. But just look at their bench unit. You have Zeke Naji, Hunter Tyson, Peyton Watson, DeAndre Jordan, Jalen Pickett, and Julian Strawther. PJ Hall, Trey Alexander. Obviously, some of those guys got minutes because it was a blowout, but we'll look at the guys that got, more than 10 minutes. That's Peyton Watson, DeAndre Jordan, Jalen Pickett, and Julian Strother. None of those guys should be getting more than maybe 12 to 10 minutes a night. That's like a maybe. But if you still had a good bench unit, they wouldn't even be seeing that much. Starting five, Aaron Gordon came back. You have Christian Brown, Brody, Jokic, MPJ. Obviously, a much better shooting game from this team. 44% from three. They shot 27, which is around what they shoot for the year. They're the lowest attempting three-point team in the league. They shoot around 30 a game, so yeah, roughly what they shoot. They just don't really have a well-constructed roster. So I put a lot of the blame on Calvin Booth, their GM, president of basketball operations. Obviously, some of the blame is Mike Malone, not keeping these guys motivated, saying in a post-game, I don't know if it was post-game, but I saw an interview where he had a headset on. It might have been during a game, like an in-game interview. One of the announcers asked Mike Malone, what do you do when Jokic isn't on the court? He says, I pray.
Nikola had to go to the bench. What do you do in those minutes?
I pray. That's what I do.
What type of confidence is that instilling into Hunter Tyson or Peyton Watson, Julian Strother, DeAndre Jordan, all these guys that are coming off the bench for this team, Dario Saric when he's healthy? That's not giving them much confidence. So some blame has to be pointed at Mike Malone for not really hyping them up. Although they suck. I'm not going to lie. They suck. You got to be a better leader than saying, I pray when Jokic comes off the court. And then to the general manager, Calvin Booth. I've talked about this. I feel like a broken record. They win the championship, right, in 2022. That offseason, they lose Bruce Brown, right? Last year, not their best year. Don't make it as far as they want. This offseason, they lose KCP. Those are two key 3-and-D guys that were on that championship core now gone, which has now promoted Christian Brown to start, which Christian Brown has been the surprise of the season for the Denver Nuggets. One of the biggest surprises in the NBA. He has been awesome. He is one of the only guys after Jokic who has done his job flawlessly. So I put no blame either on Christian Brown. He has been a real huge bright spot in Denver. But everyone else, there is blame to be had. But again, a lot of it falls on the general manager, putting these guys in positions where they shouldn't be. I've said it time and time again. Peyton Watson should not be getting this many minutes in the NBA. You have Julian Strother. I believe in him. He's been all right this year. But still, he's a little bit too young to be getting this much run already on a championship team. Or I should say a team that should be a championship team, because they're not a championship team right now. And then on top of that, they are paying 4 guys like they're super stars in the NBA. Of course, Jokic is that, and he earns all the money he could possibly get. He deserves more money. But then you have Jamal Murray, who was, in a little bit of a silent conflict with the Nuggets, finally got his bag. Next year he gets paid $46 million, and then $50 million, and then $53 million, and then $57 million. For what? Although he hasn't been terrible this year, he's extremely inconsistent. And for the past, 8 months, he really hasn't been that good. Going back to the Olympics, which doesn't even affect, obviously, right now, but it's leaking into this year where he's still not being amazing. Again, he has his moments where he is awesome. But more times than not, he's like, all right, he's good, keeps us in games, gets us some wins, but he's not worth upwards of $57 million. And then you have MPJ making 35, 38, 40 million bucks. He's about as streaky as it gets. He's also about as basketball knowledge brain dead possible. He doesn't play the game very smart, really ever. And then you have Aaron Gordon making 22, 31, and then 34, and then a $37 million player option, which I'm sure he'll opt into because I don't think he'll be getting more money than that in 28, 29. We'll see, because who knows where the market is going. But you are paying 4 guys, I'm going to say 3 because Jokic, he deserves all the money possible. You're paying 3 guys a lot of money, and none of them are worth that money, which makes it extremely hard for them to do anything else in free agency. That's why they didn't pay KCP, because they didn't want to go into that second tax apron. That's why originally they didn't re-sign Bruce Brown, because they didn't want to get into that second tax apron. They're in the first one right now. But you look at a team like the Boston Celtics. They say, we do not care about tax aprons. We are going to pay the guys that helped us win a championship. And look where that gets them right now. Still one of the best teams in the league, and they're going to try to run it back and win another one. The Denver Nuggets ownership and management should have looked at this and be like, we won a championship. Let's bite the bullet. Let's pay the taxes. Let's pay the penalties because we want to be good. But they decided not to. And right now they're paying the consequences of being really average and also pissing off Jokic. Pissing off Jokic because he has really no help. Of course, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and MPJ, when they're at their peaks, they're really good. And that's one of the best big four in the NBA. They won a championship. But right now, it's not that. And Jokic is doing everything possible to keep this team afloat. You look at management and Calvin Booth, and you're like, they need to make a trade. They need to get better bench depth, whether that's one big trade or a few small trades. They need to do that right now. But how? They have no one who's really worth a damn off that bench to trade that will get a return that's worth anything. Like, no team is going to give up someone great for a bench player when they're getting a subpar return. And then you look at the Nuggets draft capital, it's non-existent. It's non-existent. They don't even own their first round pick for next year. They own their 26th first round pick, 28, and then 2030 and 2031. And some of those they can't even trade because of different league rules. They're really stuck when it comes to making trades, unless they do a 1-for-1 swap. But like I said, who's going to do a 1-for-1 swap where you win the deal? Like, if it's a 1-for-1 swap, no one really wins out. It's kind of like equal player for equal player. The Denver Nuggets are kind of stuck. But luckily they have Jokic, right? On the bright side, they have Jokic. But you're also playing the game where you could piss him off. Because now there's a team around him that is really just not good enough. Jokic has to play so many minutes a night. How many minutes is he averaging this season? He is averaging 37 minutes a game, which is by far a career high. The highest he's ever done before this was 34 last year and then 34 in 2021, which 3 minutes may not seem like a lot, but in an NBA game, in a 48-minute game, 3 minutes is a lot of extra time on your body. I mean, they have no backup center to even help him. Dario Saric is hurt right now. He's not the answer. Zeke Naji sucks. DeAndre Jordan, like I said earlier, is like a Udon. He should be a Udonis Haslam, just kind of being a good locker room guy. He shouldn't be playing big minutes like that. I mean, right now, Jokic and this Denver Nuggets team is very stuck. Again, if MPJ, Aaron Gordon, and Jamal Murray can play amazing basketball, that would help out a lot. But all three of them are the prototypical inconsistent basketball player. And then Jamal Murray just got a bag. Is there complacency there? Is there still championship complacency from him? I don't know. Or is he really just not that good? And he gets hot at the times where it makes him look good. But then when you really need him, he's just not as good as he really looks. I don't know. There's a lot of questions with Jamal Murray. I really don't know. I pulled up a ton of statistics I was going to look at, but who even cares about these statistics? It's like, just use the eye test, and the Nuggets are not good. When Jokic comes off the court, they blow. When Jokic is on the court, they're not bad. Like, they average how many points per... I'll talk about one statistic. I have to talk about some stats. They average about 118 points per game. That's 6th in the NBA. Their offense isn't that bad. That's not really like the terrible part here. It's just the overall team play when Jokic is off the court is about as bad as it possibly could get. And then their defense is atrocious. They give up 117 points per game, which is about 1 point less than what they average on offense. So you're not going to win many ball games when it's pretty equal to what you score, to what you give up. You're going to be in a lot of close games. You're going to lose some games. It's not going to be the greatest battles out there. And so far, everything is proving to that way. They don't have great energy. Like I said, Mike Malone isn't helping that out by saying, I pray when Jokic comes off the court. I don't care if he was joking or not. He's also said in post-game press conferences, just different, little offhand comments about his bench unit and things like that. And he's also saying that to probably put pressure on Calvin Booth to make a change, to make a move. But like I said, there's not much movement to be made because I don't have the best assets anywhere across the board. So that is my take on the Denver Nuggets so far this year. again, they have Jokic, and they do have MPJ, Aaron Gordon. They have Jamal Murray. Christian Brown is stepping up. If they can just get, elevated play from everyone a little bit, things will look a lot brighter. But they're not. These guys aren't stepping up. Besides, like I said, Christian Brown has been awesome. Most of these guys aren't stepping up really to where they should be. So, I don't know. I really don't know. After all of this, I don't know, because they're really they're stuck in a tough Western Conference, and then team-wise, they're stuck. So, we'll see what happens. Anyways, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. Let me know down in the comments below your take on the current state of the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. I'll see you guys very soon, and like always, peace out.